Hello, friends. My name is Dr. John Harris. I'm 88 years old this year. I spent 40 years practicing medicine before retiring, and even now, I still wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, take a walk around the park near my home, then come back for a warm cup of tea. People often ask me, "Doctor, how do you stay so healthy and spry at almost 90? I usually just smile and say, "No fancy supplements needed, just small, simple things that anyone can do." But this morning, during my walk, I saw something that made me pause and reflect. There was an elderly man sitting alone on a bench. His back was slightly hunched, hands trembling as he held his cane, and his eyes looked tired as he watched people pass by. I walked over and greeted him. After a short chat, he said, "I'm only 75, but lately my knees ache and I get short of breath easily. I guess it's just old age. Nothing I can do." Dear friends, does that sound familiar? Have you ever thought the same? That declining health is simply inevitable as we grow older? That back pain, sore knees, dizziness, and sleepless nights are just the price we pay for aging? If you've ever believed that, then today I want to invite you to sit with me, like two old friends having a heart-to-heart talk. Because I don't agree with that at all. I've seen hundreds of elderly patients, some of whom couldn't even get out of bed, transform their lives in just a few months. After changing a few habits, they were walking again, traveling, even dancing with their grandchildren. Curious how they did it? It wasn't expensive medication. It wasn't any strange therapy. It was something much simpler. 5 everyday habits that silently chip away at the health of older adults. Most people don't even realize it's happening. And the most important thing, and I say this with all sincerity, it's never too late to make a change. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 80, your body still has a remarkable ability to heal and adapt. You just have to start today. Are you ready? Stick with me to the end of this article, because at the very end, I'll share one special tip. Something I only reveal to those who are truly serious about living a long, healthy life with their loved ones. Let's begin with something incredibly familiar in our daily lives. Sitting. Sounds harmless, right? But it may be the very habit quietly shortening your lifespan day by day. Think about it. How many hours have you spent sitting today? You wake up and sit down for breakfast. After that, maybe you watch some TV. Then lunch, more sitting, an afternoon reading the paper or napping, and by evening, you're back in front of a screen again. Add it all up, and you might be sitting for over 10 hours a day without realizing it. I once had a patient named Sarah, 73 years old. She lived alone, retired, with her children far away. Each day she would get up, eat breakfast by herself, then sit on the couch for most of the morning. Sometimes she walked around the house, but mostly she sat. When she came in for a checkup, she said, "I don't do anything tiring, but I always feel heavy. My legs are getting weaker, and I get dizzy when I stand." After a full examination, I wasn't surprised. She had lost nearly 15% of her leg muscle mass in just over a year. Her blood circulation was poor, her blood pressure fluctuated, and signs of bone weakening had already begun. You know, when we sit for too long, our blood circulation slows down like stagnant water, and our muscles, especially the leg muscles, begin to fall asleep. If this continues, our body becomes like a car that hasn't been started in a while. The engine rusts, the battery weakens. Then, one day when we step outside, even a small fall can lead to a broken bone, a long hospital stay, and from there, everything starts to spiral. I'm not exaggerating. In my 40 years of practice, I've seen too many healthy seniors go through a dramatic decline after just one fall. The root cause? Sitting too much, which led to weakened muscles. But here's the good news. You can completely reverse this starting today. When you stand up, your blood flows better. Simply getting up and walking around for 2 to 3 minutes every 30 to 60 minutes can make your heart feel lighter and your muscles more alert. I always recommend this simple trick to my patients. Set a timer on your watch or phone to remind you to stand every hour. When the alarm goes off, get up. Grab a glass of water, open a window, look outside. Anything that gets your body moving just a little, it all helps. One of my favorite exercises that I often teach is the sit to stand. Just sit down and stand up from a chair 10 times a day. It's a fantastic workout for your thighs and hips, and it's very safe and effective. If doing all 10 at once feels too hard, break it into smaller sets, maybe 3 times a day, 3 or 4 reps each time. Little by little, your body will adapt and grow stronger. I also encourage everyone to walk at least 30 minutes a day. This can be divided into 3 short walks: morning, noon, and afternoon. Whether it's around your home, your backyard, or even just the apartment hallway. As long as you're moving, it counts. Remember this: sitting too long is like growing roots into your chair. It makes life feel stuck and slowly drains your health. But the moment you stand up, you're already taking a step out of that shadow. Dear friends, now that we've talked about prolonged sitting, let's move on to bad habit number 2. Something even more subtle: letting your muscles fade away without doing anything to stop it. I know, many people think, muscles are for young folks. It's normal to get weaker as we age. But here's the truth. Your muscles are like a bank account. If you're not making deposits, you're withdrawing little by little every day until one day, there's not enough left to even get out of bed. I clearly remember a patient of mine, Robert, 76 years old. He had spent most of his life working on a farm. Strong, sturdy, always active. But after retiring, he barely moved, just stayed indoors. One day he slipped in the bathroom and broke his hip. I visited him at the hospital and found him lying still in bed, eyes red and filled with sadness. He said to me, "Just one slip and I can't stand up anymore." But I knew it wasn't that single fall. The real problem had begun years earlier, when he started letting his muscles waste away, slowly but surely. Once you hit your 70s, muscle mass can decline by 15 to 20% within just a few years, if you're not exercising. And here's the scary part. The more muscle you lose, the higher your risk of falls, back pain, knee problems, diabetes, and even memory loss. Why does that happen? Muscles aren't just for movement. They're the body's largest glucose-burning powerhouse. When your muscles shrink, sugar stays in your bloodstream longer, making it harder for your body to regulate blood sugar and increasing your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Muscles also help maintain balance, stabilize blood pressure, and act as your natural shield against falls. Have you ever stood up quickly and felt dizzy? That could be a sign of orthostatic hypotension, and one major reason for it is weak leg muscles, which can't support healthy blood flow back to the heart. Back pain, sore knees, a weak core, many symptoms we often chalk up to just getting old, are actually signs that the muscles in your core, your back, abdomen, and thighs are gradually getting weaker every day. So what can we do? Let me tell you about one of my patients, Emily, age 80. She used to rely on a cane just to walk around. After 3 months of practicing a simple routine, I gave her she could go grocery shopping and climb stairs without needing any support. She once said to me, "Doctor, I feel like I've gotten 10 years younger. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need a gym membership. All you need to do is sit down and stand up from a chair 10 times, 3 times a day, If you're not strong enough yet, start with just 3 to 5 reps and build up from there. Do wall-supported heel raises. Stand straight with your back to a wall, raise your heels, then lower. Repeat 10 times. It's gentle and very effective. Walk at least 30 minutes each day, even in short sessions. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and 10 at night still add up to big benefits. Stretch your muscles gently in the morning and evening. This keeps you flexible and helps prevent joint stiffness. Don't wait for a fall to start moving. Don't wait until you've lost your strength to wish you'd done something sooner. Start today, even if it's just with 1 or 2 simple moves. Now, friends, let's talk about the third bad habit. Something that seems harmless but can affect your entire body. Not drinking enough water. Sounds simple, right? But let me ask you this. How much water have you had today? 1 glass? 2? Or maybe you can't even remember the last time you drank water. One of my patients, Linda, 78 years old, came to see me with frequent mild headaches, dry mouth, and occasional dizziness when standing. After a full checkup, I realized the root of her symptoms was prolonged dehydration. When I asked her how much water she drank each day, she said, "I don't feel thirsty, so I don't really drink much." That's a very common misconception among older adults. As we age, our sense of thirst fades, like an old alarm clock that no longer rings on time. You may not feel thirsty, but that doesn't mean your body isn't crying out for water. Think of your body like a garden. Without enough water, the soil dries out, the leaves wilt, and the roots can't absorb nutrients. The same goes for your body. When you're dehydrated, your skin becomes dry, cracked, and wrinkled. Even the most expensive lotion won't help if your body is dry on the inside. And that's not all. When you don't drink enough water, your blood becomes thicker, forcing your heart to pump harder to circulate it throughout your body. This increases your blood pressure and raises your risk of stroke and heart disease. Your kidneys, often called the second heart of the body, also rely on water to filter toxins. When you're dehydrated, your kidneys have to work overtime. Over time, this can lead to kidney stones, kidney failure, and electrolyte imbalances. And let's talk about something many people experience but rarely mention: constipation. It's more common than you think, and often quietly endured week after week. What most people don't realize is that simply drinking more water can bring major relief. Your colon needs moisture to push waste out. Without it, constipation worsens. How can you tell if you're drinking enough water? It's easy. Check the color of your urine. If it's dark yellow or amber, your body is sending a distress signal. Healthy urine should be light yellow or nearly clear. So how much water should you drink? In my experience, older adults should aim for about 6 to 8 cups a day. But don't try to chug it all at once. The best approach is to spread it out throughout the day. Here are 3 simple tips I always give my patients. First, drink a glass of water right after you wake up, just like watering a garden after a dry night. Second, drink a glass before each meal. It helps your digestion work more smoothly. Third, drink a glass before bedtime, unless you wake up frequently to use the restroom. In that case, drink your evening water a little earlier. I also recommend using a marked water bottle and placing it somewhere visible, near the TV, by your bedside, or on your kitchen table. When you see it, you'll remember to drink. If needed, set 2 or 3 alarms during the day as reminders. And just to be clear, green tea, coffee, and soda don't count. In fact, they can make dehydration worse because they act as diuretics. 1 glass of water, it sounds small, but it can improve your skin, your heart, your kidneys, your memory, and even your mood. Now, my friends, let me ask you something. Have you ever sat alone in a quiet room, hearing the clock tick, looking around at the silence and wondering, did I talk to anyone today? We've just talked about drinking water for your body. Now, I'd like to invite you to share another kind of drink, a glass of emotional water. Because just as your body wilts without hydration, your spirit withers without human connection. That brings us to bad habit number 4. Living too isolated, with little to no social interaction. I've met so many people in their 70s and beyond, living in tidy, well-furnished homes, but their eyes tell a different story. When I ask how they're doing, they often smile gently and say, "I'm used to it. There's really no one to see. My kids are busy. I don't want to bother anyone." It sounds humble, even noble, but the truth is, social isolation is like a slow-dripping poison. It silently erodes your spirit, your memory, and your physical health. One of my patients, James, 74 years old, used to be a school teacher. After retiring, he lived alone. Old friends had scattered, and each day he would turn on the TV just for background noise and sit in silence until late at night. When he came in for a checkup, he was suffering from insomnia, poor appetite, and noticeable memory decline. You know, studies have shown that social isolation in older adults can be more dangerous than smoking or obesity. It significantly increases the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even Alzheimer's disease. Why is that? Because human beings weren't meant to live alone, like stones on a mountain. We're social creatures. Our brains function best when we're connected to others. Every time you talk, laugh, or check in on someone, you activate multiple areas of the brain, helping to preserve memory, sharpen thinking, and boost emotional well-being. When there's no interaction, the brain is like an abandoned piano. The strings loosen, and the music fades. Memory grows foggy. Joy slowly disappears. Isolation even affects how we eat. There's a saying, a meal eaten alone doesn't taste as good. And it's true. Without companionship, people tend to eat less, skip meals, or eat unbalanced diets. Over time, this can lead to weakness, poor immunity, and frequent illness. I understand that for many, stepping outside or reconnecting with others can feel overwhelming. But social connection doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It can start with something small, and I'll show you how. First, try calling one person each day, an old friend, a neighbor, a grandchild. Even a 5-minute conversation is a warm thread that ties you back to the world. Second, choose one day each week for a social routine. Maybe tea with a friend on Wednesday afternoons, or a Sunday grocery trip with someone nearby. Third, if you're able, consider joining a community group, hobby class, or volunteer activity. These are places where not only can you contribute, but you'll find unexpected joy and friendship. Fourth, if mobility is a challenge, technology can still help you stay connected. Learning to use a smartphone for texting or video calls with your grandkids might seem tough at first, but once you get the hang of it, it opens up a whole new world. I once had a patient, an 82-year-old woman, who learned to text her grandson living in the US. Her eyes sparkled as she told me, "Every time he sends me a picture, I feel young again." Joy, warmth, and emotional health, they all start from these little connections. So, let me ask you, have you talked to anyone today? If not, pick up the phone, call a friend, ask how they're doing, share a laugh. That is one of the most powerful medicines you'll ever take, and no hospital can prescribe it. Now, dear friends, throughout my years in medicine, I've heard many older adults say to me, often with a wistful tone, "I'm too old to learn anything new, Doc. My mind isn't what it used to be." Every time I hear that, I want to gently take their hand and say, It's not because you're old that you stop learning. It's because you stop learning that your brain begins to feel old. And that brings us to bad habit number 5. Shutting the mind off as we grow older and giving up on learning new things. I once had a remarkable patient named Mr. Daniel Thompson, 81 years old. He used to be a carpenter in a small town and had long since retired. One day during a checkup, he came in beaming with joy and said, "Doc, I just learned how to use YouTube on my phone to watch videos on cabinet making." His eyes sparkled like a child receiving praise, and his rough, weathered hands moved across the screen with surprising ease. He said, "My hands are shakier now, my eyes a bit dimmer, but learning something new makes me feel alive." That moment nearly brought tears to my eyes. Because Mr. Daniel understood something many people forget. The brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it shrinks. But if you use it daily, it stays flexible, no matter your age. Stopping the habit of learning doesn't just make you feel out of touch. It slowly robs your brain of its ability to form new connections. Memory fades, and the risk of Alzheimer's increases. A lot of people say, "I'm just at home. I don't really use my brain that much anymore." But that very mindset sends the brain into hibernation. One day you forget where you left your glasses. Then you miss an appointment. Later you might even forget a loved one's name. Sound familiar? But here's the good news. The human brain can keep learning throughout life. Even at age 90, your brain can grow new neurons if it's stimulated in the right way. And no, you don't need classrooms or complicated textbooks to do it. Here's what I often suggest to my patients. Learn one small thing each day. For example, try cooking a new dish today. Take a different route on your walk tomorrow. The next day, learn a few English words to impress your grandkids. Start a new hobby. Whether it's painting, gardening, origami, or knitting, hobbies get your brain working and bring joy and a sense of accomplishment. Try using a smartphone. Learn to text, make video calls, or browse the news. It might feel challenging at first, but once you get the hang of it, it opens up a whole new world. Join a community class. Many local centers offer programs for seniors, painting, cooking, dancing, or computer basics. You'll learn and make new friends. Double the happiness. And most importantly, don't worry about being slow. Don't be embarrassed if you fumble. Be proud that you're still learning. So let me ask you, what do you want to learn today? Maybe it's how to cook a new recipe. Maybe it's how to send an emoji in a text message. Or maybe it's simply how to make a new kind of tea. Every new thing you learn, no matter how small, is like lighting a candle in your brain. Start each morning by asking yourself, what will I learn today? That question will keep your mind young, even as the years go by. Your brain deserves to be opened every single day, so let it soar, let it grow, and let it begin today. I've always believed this. Growing old isn't the end. It's the beginning of a deeper understanding of life, of each breath, each step, each smile. And if you're still unsure about making a change, let me leave you with one final message. Something I always say to my most special patients. Your body has carried you for decades. Now it's time for you to walk beside it. If you found this message helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your simple click is the motivation that keeps me, an old doctor, writing, sharing, and finding purpose every single day. And if you've made it all the way here, I know you're someone who truly wants to make a change. So leave me a comment below. Which of the 5 habits will you start with today? Let's make this journey together, to live healthier, happier, and longer with the people we love. I'm Dr. John Harris, 88 years old, and I believe in you. Thank you for spending your precious time with me today.